hot in here. Today I'm going to be taking you through some of my absolute favorite books. These are like my 5 or 6 star reads that I just ate up so fast, and I think that if you are someone that is maybe looking into getting into reading, maybe you are looking for like a good book to start with, these would be perfect for you. Trust me, these have the potential to get you addicted to reading because that's what they did for me. I'm just gonna jump right into this because I am excited. So starting off first with Elle Kennedy's book, Good Girl Complex. This was more of a recent read for me and I just loved it. I also just found out it is book 1 out of 3. And the next book centers around a girl named Genevieve. So of course, you bet I bought that immediately. Like, it had to happen. But this is a small college town, beach town romance between Mackenzie and Cooper. So the book follows Mackenzie, who is definitely a people pleaser, and she has just been told that she has to go back to college. And even though it's not necessarily what she wants to do because she has this other successful business going, she wants to make her parents happy, and she's definitely stuck in a cycle of just always doing what she's told, what's expected of her. And basically one day she runs into a guy named Cooper, who is a local townie, as they call them. And he is definitely the type of guy that has a very bad boy exterior, but he's very loyal, very kind-hearted. And you see that arc throughout the book. But when Cooper's friends make a bet with him that he has to basically steal Mackenzie's heart so then that they can get back at this guy named Preston, who they got into a little bit of a tussle with, they very quickly realize that they have a really strong connection, and you get the idea. Okay, next is Red, White, and Royal Blue. Of course, I had to mention this because not only is it one of my favorite books, but the movie just came out. So if you do read this one, definitely watch the movie after because it's just going to be so satisfying. Seeing all of the scenes come to life, it's just amazing. It's such a great experience. It follows Alex, the son of the President of the United States, and Prince Henry, obviously of England. And after a little tussle that they got into at Henry's brother's wedding, they have been tasked damage control in the form of a fake friendship. And they basically have to look like there is no feud going on, even though they kind of don't like each other. But of course, through them just like spending a lot more time together, they very quickly form like tons of chemistry, and yeah, they catch feelings. But of course, when they catch feelings, they have to navigate being public figures, but also having a budding relationship, and you just start to get so attached to these characters. But now switching it up from the more cotton candy romances, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This, I would say, is the best book out of this video. Like, objectively, this is written so unbelievably well. Taylor Jenkins Reid is just one of those authors that is now an instant buy for me. I have to read everything she writes. This book, specifically the ending, just about sent me into a coma because it was that good. But basically it starts off, you follow a young reporter named Monique Hart, and not me literally saying a drag queen, following Monique Grant. I clearly have watched too much Drag Race. But she has been requested by Evelyn Hugo herself to help her write an article, a report about her life as a young Hollywood actress that quickly became one of the top in Hollywood, and all of her scandals and mysterious 7 husbands. There's lots of old Hollywood, like 1950s to 1980s glamour. It's one of the most cinematic books I've ever read. And sticking on the topic of Taylor Jenkins Reid, if you are not new to my channel, you saw this coming. Yeah, you saw this coming. Daisy Jones and the Six, everybody. As you can tell, I was definitely in a bit of a Taylor Jenkins Reid bender. I literally read this immediately after finishing The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Yeah, this book is amazing. It follows a really popular, really famous 1970s rock band called Daisy Jones and the Six, and you are hearing from the perspectives of each bandmate what happened leading up to their breakup, essentially. There are so many ups and downs in this book and so many amazing plot lines between each character, specifically Billy and Daisy. Daisy and Billy have a very broken kind of entanglement. They have a lot of chemistry, there's a really strong connection there, and that of course naturally causes some ups and downs, especially in Billy's marriage to Camilla. Again, definitely one of the books that right when you finish it, you've got to watch the series because the series is incredible as well. Next is a duology. It Happened One Summer and Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. This, such a cute little duology. Both of these books are small town romances, but the story starts out with Piper having a really hectic, wild night of partying that ends up with her in jail, and her family is like, you need to get a hold of yourself, we're sending you to Westport, which is actually where part of her family is from, but they haven't been in years. It's definitely not her kind of scene. She's very much a LA influencer type socialite. When her and her sister arrive in Westport, they're just trying to navigate living an independent life. But Piper specifically is determined to prove herself to her family, and also a very grumpy local who is convinced she just can't handle it. But while she's there, she learns a lot about herself, about Westport, her family, history in the town, and she ends up forming really strong bonds, and she has to, in the end, decide if LA is really what she wants and what she's meant for. And then in the second book, you follow her younger sister, Hannah, who had accompanied Piper in that first trip, but Hannah is now back in Westport the following summer for a film job, and while she's there, she reconnects with her friend Fox, who teams up with her to basically help her catch the attention of Hannah's film set crush. But of course, naturally, it's not that simple. Definitely a more cute, low stakes, just cute and spicy kind of read. The books that I'm going to talk about now are basically all of Emily Henry's books. Emily Henry is, again, one of those authors that as soon as she publishes a book, I'm reading it. Instant buy. So first I read The People We Meet on Vacation, which follows Alex and Poppy, and basically they had been going on these friend vacations for the last decade, but it's been 2 years since their last trip after a falling out that they had, and in an attempt to reignite their friendship and kind of just resolve things between them, Poppy plans one last trip to try to save their friendship. This is definitely like a second chance romance, and I absolutely loved it. I think I read this in 2 days, and this was actually the book that did get me into reading, so perfect feature to be in this video. Then I read Beach Read, also by Emily Henry, and this follows August and January. They are both writers, and they reconnect in a small town. I forget what the town is called. But basically, January is visiting her dad's beach house, and this was after his passing. She found out that he was having a secret affair, and she basically has been tasked the job of handling the house. So she's there as much as she doesn't want to be, and she figures that, you know what, at least this might give me a chance to get out of this writer's block that I've been in. But then she finds out that her college rival, August, is living next door, and he is also in a writing slump. They decide to switch genres and write each other's books for them, because really, how hard could it be? So he is writing a romance and she is writing a dark literary fiction. He's taking her on these interviews with cult members, and she's taking him on like classic dates that you see in like every cutesy little romance novel. This is definitely one of my absolute favorite books. And lastly, we have Book Lovers, which I actually just finished yesterday. This book follows Nora and her sister Libby, who have just gone on this like sisterly trip to Sunshine Falls, which is the setting of a book that Nora worked on and Libby absolutely loves. And they even have a small town trope checklist that they're gonna try to check off during their little vacation. Libby is in a relationship, but she takes this opportunity to send her sister on a mission to find a man, a small town man. But while she's there, instead of meeting a local, she bumps into Charlie, who is an editor also from New York. And after being contacted by the same author, they both end up working on the same book. They're both more or less determined not to catch feelings, but of course, that delusion did not last long, to say the least. And I just about cried when I finished this book, and I feel like I want to emphasize that that says a lot because I do not cry over books very easily. These books are some of the most well-rounded romance novels. I feel like so often you read a book and it's like it's just centered around the romance, but all these characters have really in-depth, detailed backstories and just personalities and plot lines that continue on throughout the book. Okay, now that I have absolutely talked your ear off and my throat is now starting to hurt from talking so much, that is all the books that I have to share with you today. I really hope that you give some of these books a try. They are absolutely some of my favorites. If you have any book recommendations that you think I might like, definitely leave them in the comments below because at this rate, I'm burning through books like every other day. But I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. Here's my Instagram if you would like to see more content from me. And until next time, I will talk to you in my next video.